Good morning. Today I am going to be discussing a lesson plan tidbit, and the subject of the lesson is how to grow a rhythm tree. This applies to music theory, and anybody can learn it even if they are not involved in the music world. So the materials you will need to get started are a piece of paper, either with music staff on it or just a plain piece, a pencil, not a pen in case you make some errors, and something that can make noise or just a hard surface that you can tap on. Okay, so once you've gathered those, we can begin the lesson. Have you ever found yourself keeping time along with your favorite song? Maybe you already understand rhythmic concepts. Perhaps you can easily follow along with rhythm without training, or maybe this area is not your strength. Whatever the case, this task can be accomplished from any entry point. This structure can apply to other disciplines, particularly a subject matter that starts small and has the capacity to grow exponentially. This is a visual representation of the rhythm tree, which we will construct together. So at the top of the tree, you can see that there is a whole note, which we will discuss momentarily. We'll talk about what all of these notes represent. And then we have underneath the whole note, a half note. So the whole note is split into two half notes. And then from the two half notes, we have 4 quarter notes that come from that. And then beneath that, we then have 8 eighth notes coming from the quarter note. And then we have 16 16th notes at the very bottom of the tree. So if you can visualize this as a tree, these are the roots at the very bottom. There are many roots that go into the earth. And then what we see outside of the earth is thinner and comes from a larger point of view. Where there are notes and nomenclature listed, material may be substituted for different disciplines in the same tree-like structure. In the next 10 minutes, we will discuss the purpose of the rhythm tree, how to construct it, and how it may be universally applied. There will also be attention paid to questions and concerns that may arise from students and how to navigate them. Take a moment and tap your finger on the surface in front of you as quickly as possible several times in a row. How would you categorize those sounds? How would you count them? Was there any organization to your thinking, or was it random? Now, inhale deeply and hum a note as long as you can until running out of breath. Did you find yourself counting the seconds, or were you concerned about your air supply? I would ask these questions verbally and then leave time for discussion. Then this next question I would ask verbally and then have the students respond in writing. Think about how these exercises apply when listening or performing music. I will play the familiar song, Happy Birthday. While you are listening, consider how might you count the rhythm, or how do you even visualize it? Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear COVID-19. Happy birthday to you. I'll take a moment and respond to the question. First, we must understand rhythmic durations before attending to the tree. For the sake of time, we will work with 5 note values. There are exceptions to these rules, but we will focus this lesson on the basic understanding. We will deal with these 5 note names. A whole note is worth 4 beats. Half of that duration is a half note worth 2 beats. Half of that duration is a quarter note worth 1 beat. Half of that duration is an eighth note worth half of a beat. Half of that duration is a 16th note worth a quarter of a beat. So if that seems a bit too complicated, you can pause the video and discuss that and maybe do some illustrations to help students understand that mathematically. Repeating after me, we will do the following. We're going to clap a whole note and count aloud 1, 2, 3, 4 while holding our hands together and then release. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we'll do the same thing for a half note and count aloud 1, 2. 1, 2. For a quarter note, we count 1. 1. Now we're going to clap 2 eighth notes and count along 1 and on each clap. 1 and then 4 16th notes and count aloud 1 E and on each clap. 1 E and So then I would have students practice that several times until they can understand the difference between the values of each note name. Let us start with the top of the rhythm tree and work downward. The steps to constructing the tree are as follows. First, we'll draw a whole note at the top center of the page. Then you can pause the video and for each of these steps and allow students the opportunity to do that. Next, we will extend 2 lines from the whole note with a half note at the end of either line, signifying that 2 half notes equal the duration of a whole note. Repeat the same step, extending 2 lines from both half notes. Draw quarter notes under each line, signifying that 2 quarter notes equal the duration of 1 half note. Repeat the same step, extending 2 lines from each quarter note. Draw an eighth note under each line, signifying that 2 eighth notes equal the duration of a quarter note. Repeat the same step, extending 2 lines from each quarter note. Extending 2 lines from each eighth note. Draw a 16th note under each line, signifying that 2 16th notes equal the duration of an eighth note. And if this is too confusing to explain verbally, you can throw up the example that we discussed at the very beginning and just have students replicate that. Now the auditory and visual activities demonstrate each other. The auditory exercise may be repeated while following the visual cues of the rhythm tree. Can you think of ways that this concept and subsequent activities can apply in other disciplines? Jot down your thoughts. Now take a moment and share your ideas with the group. Provide visuals of a tree structure for another discipline based on a student-informed idea. And then you can pause the video now to do that. Now listen to Twinkle Twinkle Little Star and see if you can identify the rhythm. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are. Up above the world so high, like a diamond in the sky. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are. Okay, so pause the video and take a moment to try to figure out what that rhythm is for the simple tune. Constructing a rhythm tree requires a bit of mathematical knowledge and some moderate artistic expertise. Although it is a discipline-specific activity, a student can approach the material from any level, including an introductory one. Understanding the basics of rhythm will influence one's listening skills exponentially. To accompany this lesson, I would distribute a rhythm tree that we showed at the beginning of the lesson, and also a blank tree to fill in in order to facilitate discussion about how it can be used in other disciplines. Thank you for listening, and I hope that you find this useful.